Welcome to Stasis Geek with my friend Sandy Q for fantasy movie recommendations. And we were just talking offline and we've got very exciting for the first one. So it's going to be a good one. And it's happened again before we go into it. We've got the same one, exactly the same. So that's good. But yeah, this fantasy is going to be good. I've got some. What did we have? We had. Did you say two or three? Wasn't it last time?
Last time we had 2 matches. We
Yeah,
matched on A
yeah.
Man for All Seasons and Yankee Doodle Dandy. So this time
There you
we'll
go.
see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, so it's going to be good. So, but yeah. Now the rules were on this. We weren't going to do Lord of the Rings. No Lord of the Rings or Hobbit because they are obvious. Because we both agreed they would be in like the top, wouldn't they? They would just be
They would.
recommended straight away. And I'm guessing most people are going to 99% of people are going to have them as in their top five and have already watched them, multiple times. Like the trilogy, even the Hobbit, I've watched tons and tons of time. So
The
yeah,
extended
it's
versions. The extended
the
versions as
extended
well. Yeah.
versions, yes. The worst thing is when you actually watch the originals and then you watch the extended versions. Like when you go back and watch just the unextended,
Mhm.
you're missing something.
You
You're
want
like,
more.
oh, I want more. I want that. Like especially Return of the King, like that
Yes.
breakup of the like how long it is. It would have numbed your bum in the cinema. I'll give everybody that because that is a long movie, but you do miss it. You do miss it. But that's why movies in the cinema should have like intervals maybe now.
They should. The good ones anyway.
Yeah, a good long
Well,
ones.
and the
But
bad
yes,
ones, you can take an interval and leave.
so if we're going to talk about Lord of the Rings, it's a highly honorable mention, but it won't be on the list
It's in a
because
class by itself,
it's
really.
it's
It is.
it's there top of the things. And also we've tried to stay away from space fantasy as best we can.
Mhm.
So this is going to be fantasy, as the best because I think we both said there's such a crossover of like, is it sci-fi? Or, is it, it can proper play into other ones. So this is hopefully a good old fantasy one. So yeah, it's good. So we're gonna get on that things. But yeah, I think Greg had some good ones there. Slayer, Hulk Slayer, yeah, Dragon Slayer. He's gone proper medieval. He's gone like proper Conan
All
and
the slayers.
yeah, it is everything Slayer. Like, but even Beastmaster was a Slayer, Greg. And then
Mhm.
Time Bandit, I've put it in a different category, even though it is fantasy. I've put it in a different category, so it will turn up in another stream, but it is in a different category. So yeah, that's good. And hi, Clitu.
Hello, Klisu.
Yeah, Clue. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna. So shall we start? Because last time I went first, so this time you're gonna go first.
Why,
And
thank you.
yes, and we
So
it was Sandy's first, and it was going to be my second. So we're gonna have to jump it. So this is the same, and I love this movie.
I
When
love
Sandy
this
put it in
movie.
when said it, because this is gonna be the first one. I love it, and it's the 1981 Clash of the Titans.
Clash
Go ahead,
of the Titans.
go go go.
So there were some of these movies were on hard rotation on television when I was little. So unfortunately, again, didn't see this movie in the theater, but saw it on television. And when everyone refers to and reveres this film, you hear people say, "Oh, it's a Ray Harryhausen film." And in
Mm,
my head, I thought, "Oh, that's the director." No, that is the special
no,
effects director, Ray
yeah,
Harryhausen, the guy who did the amazing claymation,
yeah.
animatronics to really bring the characters and the creatures to life. And I think it made me think, there's probably no other set of films that are referred to not by the director. Who could even remember who the director was? But everyone knows who the special effects director was.
Mm,
Um, Clash of the Titans. When Stasis, when you and I did this before, there were some names that kept popping up, and we kept saying, "Wow, there are some really good actors in these films." And in this film, you have the lead character Perseus is Harry Hamlin, but you have Laurence Olivier
Yeah.
is there's good old Dame Maggie Smith, Ursula Andress, Sean Phillips, a whole great list of amazing actors. I loved the special effects as a kid. Absolutely loved those creatures, and then we got one
Hey,
of the
Greg.
best geeky
Sorry.
quotes of all time from this movie. Probably the most quoted geek quotes of all time. Release the
The
Kraken.
Kraken. Oh yeah.
Release the Kraken.
I I d- I can't emphasize how much I love this movie. If I think I have the DVD down there somewhere,
Yeah.
and I bought it as soon as it went out, DVD, bang.
Mhm.
I absolutely adore this movie, even though, like, yeah, okay, special effects today are ropey, but the story, how it's like the pacing of it with like Zeus and the gods, and then with Perseus and all that. The pacing of this is top notch. How they bring everything
Yes.
together is absolutely brilliant. Uh, hey, Mongoose.
Hey, Psychotic Mongoose is here.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
else I do love about this film is the yeah, when you use the word ropey special effects, it's kind of, I think we would call it like janky, like, but
Yeah.
you do appreciate even
It's
today
yeah,
it
but it's
holds
still
up.
it
You
still holds up.
appreciate
Yeah,
what it
that's
was for back then. Like you really do appreciate
mm.
how everything from the kind of claymation monsters to the
Yeah.
fake
The only bit
animatronic
I
little
would
owl.
the only bit I would
Kubo.
think I would say looks a bit ropey when I watched it. I watched it around about less than a month ago. Like it came on TV and was like, click, watch, done. Is the Pegasus bit when it's in the night time
Mm,
and it's the whip and all that, where the
yeah,
blood drips and all that. That's a bit odd. But the rest of it, yeah, I don't mind it. It's just, yeah, it's good. It's like, yeah, even when the bird takes her in the cage, and then
yeah.
like it's still, yeah, it's a bit flappy with the wings,
It's a bit
but
flappy.
you can just you see past it because the story is like it just develops so well. So yeah,
Well, you
I
can't
the
beat,
misgivings
it's
to it,
mythology.
yeah, it's just the misgivings of it just makes me go, no, I love this movie, and I
Love
can
it even
watch it
more.
over and over again. And there's that remake of it. So the remake is like it misses the bits of the mythology bit. It goes into full action, and that's why I don't think that
Mhm.
lives up to this one so much, because this one has the shield and the sword and the helmet and the clockwork owl, and it tells you why, and it has the gods, whereas the other one goes in a bit away from the mythology and
Yes,
goes to more Hollywood action. So I kind of like, that's why I think this one is so much better. It just lives up a little bit higher in my estimation than the remake.
I
But I
agree.
can watch the remake and it's okay, but it's not to this standard. I would say
No,
like if I had to give this one, I'm gonna give it like an 8 out of 10 just because
me
of
too.
the pacing and just how great it is. And it's one I can watch and enjoy over and over again. And it always plays. I don't know about in like over in the United States, always before Christmas. It always like a couple of weeks before Christmas. This
Does
will
it?
be on. Yeah, it's weird. But
Here it used to be like Saturday afternoon fare. There were always these, and there's a couple of
mm,
other movies on my list and that we'll probably talk about that were like Saturday afternoon in the 90s. They were on TV. One more thing. I think when you talk about the remake, I think the original, I think the monsters are creepier to me. Like the Medusa in the original. Maybe it's because I
yeah,
was like 5 years old or 6 years old, but that scared the
I,
heck out of
I
me.
I think it's how they, like, as we said about the animation, it's how they move, because they're like
Yeah.
janky, like they're really like janky. So it kind of makes it look a bit more. Oh, that's not normal. So I think it kind of works.
Awesome. Well,
So
we agree again on our first/second choice. So now you have to pick a different one.
I know.
What's your
Well,
number one?
this is gonna be my was gonna be my number one. So this is a French one, and I adore this. And I don't know even how I even stumbled across it. I think it was probably from my stepdad. So now this is very similar kind of to Sleepy Hollow. That's kind of like the best way I could say what it is. So now this is, let me just get the thing up. it might be the one of the things. Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Ooh,
Have you?
no.
Is it? Oh, you know, I heard it.
Tell me all about it.
Okay, so it's set in 18th century France, and it's a cavalier, I suppose, things like, and he's Native American companion who is, but he knows martial arts. Put that aside. We're gonna move that, push that aside. But
Okay.
what it is, there's a people being killed, yeah, randomly by a wolf, of course, and they're the werewolf hunters. So they think it's a werewolf, and that's it. So it is very. If you've seen Sleepy Hollow, the concept of it is the same. Of there is a somebody controlling an element of the wolf. It's like a kind of dead wolf and like different things on it. But it is absolutely a top movie.
Ooh.
So it's good. So yeah, it sings. There you go. Even Greg. There you go. Greg. Awesome movie. Yeah, it's getting there.
Well, it's
So
on my
yeah.
list now to watch.
Oh, there you go. Even yeah, look, there you go. Mongoose. I love this movie. It is. It is. It's really. It is really good. If I have to recommend it, yeah, it always 100% do the subtitles. Do not do the dubbed. It doesn't justify if you do the dubbed. But yeah, it is.
No,
It's a
never,
great
never,
French
never,
movie.
never dubbed.
But I like it because it's set in that like the 18th century. So I think that's our time
Mm-hmm.
period. I really like that time period.
Yeah.
So it's kind of with that, and then it's in like, you know, what's happening in France, and it's got that kind of like the history going on in the background of what is actually, you know, happening in France. But then there's a possibly a werewolf. So it's really, really good. So it's a fantasy action, but I love it because it's got, you know, a bit of werewolves and things. But there you go. So that's
Sounds
my
great.
second. It is a good one. It
I
is. So
wonder
yeah.
if it just didn't play here. Like I just don't. Did you see it in the cinema or?
No,
Okay.
it was one of those. We have like a thing, Channel 4, and Channel 4 they used to, after like 11 o'clock, used to play always foreign films,
Mm,
like always foreign films. So I think it was
okay.
when that came out. So it was one of those. So yeah, I don't think it probably played uh in the cinema here. If it did, it was limited. If it was, but I can't. When did this come out? So let me have a look. 2 seconds. What year? So I think I've probably been a bit too young. 2001. So yeah, so it's not an
Oh,
old
okay.
movie. So it is quite, you know, old in the old sense. But yeah, so it's a good one. But yeah, it's a firm, fun, good. I say 7.5 out of 10. You know, it's one of those ones. So really, really good. So yeah, it's high. One of those. If you've not seen Brotherhood of the Wolf, it is. Yeah, it's a good one to do. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like
So
one I'd
that's.
like, and taking the recommendations of some of the folks in chat too. I think I'll
Mm.
definitely take a look at that film. And no, I never do dubbed versions. I love the subtitles because I
Yeah.
want to hear the expression of the actors. So,
Yeah, it does. It doesn't come across, does it? So
nope.
you know, it's like when you go dubbed. Like there's certain loads of movies where you're like, that just doesn't work. It just sounds a bit weird. So
Definitely.
I've just seen your next
You
one.
saw my
Wow,
next
the
one.
next one. Ooh, like let me just get this picture up.
All right.
This one. Now, this one I would have thought, is it
In a
obvious? Is
different
a good.
category. I
Yeah,
know.
oh, is it different category? So it is a good one.
But
Let me.
you will probably put it in a different category if you like the film Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Mm,
And I put it in the fantasy category because the obviously the martial arts form that Jen is seeking and that the Jade Fox can't really grasp is supernatural, right? I mean, and if you've seen the
yeah.
film, you see the very amazing dancing. This is warrior dancing, and supernatural leaping, and it's not realistic. It's definitely supernatural. So that's
No,
why
it's when is it the when they go over the the
the rooftops.
rooftops there. Sorry, can get my
When
words
they
out
go
there.
over
But
the
yeah,
rooftops, and there are
yeah,
a couple of jumps
mm,
where she twists and jumps, and she goes up 5 or 6 stories. So obviously you can't jump up five or
yeah,
six stories. And part of the story is that Jen, the young apprentice, unbeknownst to her family, to the thief, the Jade Fox. Her master had taught her the art, but she had learned the art. The master had learned the art only by looking at the pictures because she's illiterate. And Jen, the student, can read, and what she's read about the art is the supernatural piece that her master never learned. But let me make an announcement to Jennifer Lawrence and every other female actor today in the present world who believes that they are the first female of anything. They must have missed this film, because Michelle Yeoh is an absolute badass action star in this movie, as is the younger actress who plays Jen, Ziyi Zhang. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I can't say enough about this film. I've seen it many times. And when you see it the first time or the first several, you don't realize that the main characters are women. And again, to the writers of Ahsoka, praising the first all female lightsaber battle, they haven't watched this film. Obviously, no lightsabers, but you have female warriors fighting, dancing essentially to battle, and it's incredible.
I must say, like, when I've watched this multiple times, like, the one thing I always takes away from me, like, the story is a classic Chinese story. You take that away, it's very, but the movie is so beautifully shot. It's just all the cinematography into it is absolutely, the styling of it makes this movie. It's just, it is a beautiful, but it has like the main characters, but like their side stories and how beautiful they all, until the end. It's like, it is really, and I remember that, and I think it was what I think probably there hasn't been many that kind of opened up the Chinese kind of cinematography well to Hollywood than this.
Right.
It did very well internationally, so it kind of like, oh, hold it, people like this, and it kind of opened up some people's eyes and it's like that. But yeah,
It really did. And
yeah, Hero by Jet Li, that's another good one. They're kind of
yes.
like very similar time, isn't it? So, but
Yes. Here's what's unfortunate, though. It was nominated for so many awards. It was nominated for 10 Academy Awards and 14 BAFTAs, and it only won a few. It won Best Foreign Language Picture in both, but it was nominated for Best Picture. And I don't know why. When I look at the competition, this should have been just plain old Best Picture. Don't put it in a category of foreign language film. Just for everything it accomplished. This is Ang Lee, and again Michelle Yeoh, Chow Yun Fat. The other actors are all just incredible physical artists, dancers, trained ballet dancers and acrobats, and put every bit of that training to use in this film.
and I just looked at the budget, only 17 million.
Correct. I think
That is a hell of a. That is a good gross worldwide 200 million. So if
it is the
inflation,
highest
wow.
grossing. I think it is the highest grossing Chinese film ever by far.
Yeah.
But absolutely one to watch. If anyone hasn't seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon because they assume it's an art film or have a problem with subtitles, don't worry about it. You can follow the story without looking at the subtitles. You're consumed by, yes.
Yeah, the cast is incredible. I think everybody nails it in this movie. That's the thing, is they you do get lots of good stories, but like the cast just doesn't gel together. But all this cast, that makes it a great movie. So, and then Greg, so far every movie on DVDs.
Greg has good taste.
There we go.
Definitely. All right, your turn.
I know. Oh, what's that? Oh, I thought. Come on, Clissy. You don't have him. Hope you're on about the original, not the remake.
Not the remake. Oh.
No, right. Now, this next one is going to be my most sci-fi one.
Okay.
But but it's very dark. That's the clue, if anything. And so it might be on your list. So it is. It's a very strange one, and but they have some really good cast, and it's Dark City.
Not on my list.
Not in your list. Now, this is very high. This is the most sci-fi one I've got, but I kind of love it. Now, if anybody hasn't watched it, I can't really talk about it because the kind of mid spoiler part of the movie
Correct.
is really. When I first watched it, I was like,
Yes.
oh, like that, and it was just like it opens the kind of your eyes up and go, that is really, really good. But yeah, I think it's got it's got a great cast,
Great cast.
but even like Kiefer Sutherland, who's not very known for these he plays a really quirky doctor in it, and it is
Yes.
great. But I love this kind of dystopian like undertone to it, and it's just it's called Dark City, but like how gritty this movie is, and like really like it is shot literally in it is shot in night,
Mm-hmm.
all of it, and it's just literally it's got a great twist to it, and you're like I can't. I love this movie when it come out. So yeah, it's a good one. It's a
I
good one.
didn't even think I wouldn't have put it on my list. I would have put it on my
Hey,
honorable
hey,
mentions, but I think I
really?
forgot about it. I do. I
Ah,
I do
yeah.
like this movie. You're right. I love the cast in this movie.
Mm.
And
It's one of those, yeah. And I think like the main Rufus, what's his Swanwell? He is a good actor, and he's very I don't think he's got the Hollywood look, and he doesn't get many
no.
like high jobs, but he's a bloody good actor. So
What
yeah,
year
I
was
think
this?
yeah. Ooh, it's a 90s one, 1998.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good one. I think it did well over here cinema wise, just because I think everybody was kind of it's different. It's kind of
Mhm.
like it's really dark. So I don't know what it did internationally. I don't think it did that well, but over here, yeah, it got good critical praise. So it made a lot of people watch it. So this is actually one I did actually go to the cinema and actually
I'm
watch.
gonna give that a
Yeah,
rewatch. Yeah. I
yeah,
did
it's
see it in
good.
the cinema too, but it didn't have a wide release here. I
Ah,
think I
okay.
saw it in like just one of those one-off theaters that I don't want to call it an art theater, okay, because that's
Hmm.
not where I hung out. But there was a theater that only had one screen near me, and I think that's where I saw this movie. And
Yeah.
they would have independent films and more not as big
Yeah,
blockbuster
it's
films.
not a very Hollywood movie in the sense of it, but it's got say it's got like Jennifer Connelly on it, so it's got the Hollywood kind of William Hurt, so it's got that kind of Hollywood, I suppose, category at the time. They probably were not the A-listers they probably are known today. They were kind of doing some quirky stuff. Even Kiefer
Mhm.
Sutherland, he wasn't. He was coming off some very weird, bizarre movies, and even to the back of some older ones he did. So yeah, and Jennifer Connelly, she was kind of like not doing much. So it was good to see. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Good one. Good choice.
yeah. Oh, what's this?
Emo
Kind of
cinema.
emo
Yeah.
cinema. Yay! Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is I suppose it is an emo film. It's supposed like because of the grittiness in the dark. Uh, what was it? So yeah, so I'm still not seen. I've never seen it. Go and watch it, Abe.
Go watch it, Abe.
Okay, next one. Okay.
So
Ah.
this is again, I think all of mine fall into two categories, but when I decided on fantasy, it's that supernatural, dreamy, otherworldly quality. This is Man of La Mancha, the 1972 version based on Don Quixote by
Mhm.
Cervantes. Why on earth do I put this in fantasy? Because we are in Don Quixote's mind, wandering through his fantasies. Now, this is also a film. I told James before we came on board. I said, "Well, I've got one film that I like both versions for different reasons." So I like this version, which is the musical. I like this version for the performances. Peter O'Toole, and I think between Peter O'Toole and Sir Alec Guinness, James, we're going to have to make them the mascots for film reviews because their names come up in every single one of your film recommendations. I
Yeah, I don't
really
think we've
dig.
any Peter O'Toole this time, but yeah.
So Peter O'Toole plays Don Quixote. Sophia Loren is in this. The Brian Blessed is in this film, but this is the musical version. Okay, I love the film. I adore the story of Don Quixote. If you've never read it, it is long. You have to read it. It is the foundation of all modern storytelling and novels. So I love the story, and I love Peter O'Toole playing Don Quixote. I don't like the actual songs in the musical. So while I love the performances in this version, I can't stand the songs. And it's one of those things where it's the songs you don't like that stick in your brain for a long time. They become earworms, and I don't care for them. There was another version, not a musical version, called Don Quixote, released in 2015, and it was a small independent film. And the actors, most of the actors were not very well known. The actor playing Don Quixote is called Carmen Argenziano, and James Franco is in the movie and actually, I think, funded the movie. That film,
Hey,
I like the film story better than the musical, but I like the performances in Man of La Mancha better. So I actually have both of them kind of tied. But this does fit into fantasy because this is all his dream. This is his
yeah.
dream of being a knight, and it's charming and it's wonderful, and I can watch it a million times.
I must say, I've probably watched it once or twice. I'm not heavily into my musicals, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to rewatch it. Yeah, I
Mhm.
can't. It's one of those ones I can't really remember, but I remember watching it, and oh, I remember it, but I don't remember it. If that's what you're saying, so yeah, so I can think about it's
Give it a
it's
watch. Give it a
yeah, I'm
watch.
gonna have to give a watch. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. So okay, all right. My next one, I don't think it was called this in the United States. So I think it was called a different name. So I'm going to have to call it twice. But I've got the British version, I suppose. And this is the only. I suppose it's set in the Second World War. Now it is a matter of life and death, and I believe in the United States it was called Stairway to Heaven or something like that.
Oh, okay. I've
Uh,
heard of it, haven't seen it. Tell us
I
all
love
about
it.
it.
So of course it is RAF pilot, aviator, I suppose, crashes in the sea. Sorry, is it that and then whilst everybody's bowed out and he's going down with the plane, he is on the radio to a American radio operator like that. So she's trying to calm him down as he goes crashing, and of course then they fall in love over the radio. It's whilst he's about to go to his death, and then of course, spoiler everyone if you're not seeing it, he dies. But he kind of makes a plan like in heaven that he's allowed to have his second chance if he can make her, fall in love, real, absolutely real. They will, spend their
Oh,
life together and all that. So it's a very romantic fantasy one, but it's about uh, it's got a lot of there's a like how they have to they play off each other. Yeah, I have to agree with Abe there. It is very very Bill and Ted.
oh,
It is,
cool.
yeah. It is kind of is, but it's got I love this movie because it's got this, it's got the great love story of Second World War, but it's got that fantasy of death and heaven, very I suppose religious element to it as well, into it, but it's got the going back. It's fun as well, but yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, and it just makes me smile. It's one of those you can just have you can have a light-hearted smile to it. But yeah, it's good. And it did well, I suppose, at the time because it's got, the American girl and the British aviation. I don't think they call him RAF at the time, but he's in a bomber, and then it's cooling down for that. So yeah, I
It's
highly
going on
recommend
my
it.
list. I don't know
It's
why I
great. I
had heard of
love it.
Stairway to Heaven. I hadn't
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
And
I don't know
David
why it was.
Niven, yes,
I'm guessing
definitely.
there is a big stairway, like a massive escalator that they
Nice.
got to kind of get up to heaven. So I think that's maybe they did that I don't know why they changed it in America, but yeah, to us it's a matter of life and death. But
Well,
hey, bend over, howdy, howdy. I should actually let you say howdy as the American.
We don't say howdy. We say
Yeah.
hey. I'm on the
Hey.
East Coast. We say hey. We say
But
hey.
yeah, I highly recommend this. This is a great, yeah, it is a great love fantasy movie. So this is my most, romantic one I really like. So yeah,
What year
that's
is
on there.
this? Do you have it handy? What
1946.
46?
So yes, so it's bang on, just released after the war. So I'm guessing it's probably trying to play on as well. All the GIs coming over,
Yeah.
taking the British girlfriends and all that, and they've reversed the roles. So it kind of played well into that in the UK as well. But yeah, it's a bit of fun. But it's got to be like good little slapstick comedies that you expect from that mid 40s to 50s movies. So yeah, it's got a lot of
Oh, it
little
sounds like
funny
fun.
little bit of fun little jokes as well. So yeah, highly recommended. Okay, and what's yours next?
All right. This is my second. We chatted a little bit about foreign language films, and this is my
Ah,
second.
it was an honorable mention. Honorable mention.
Good.
It nearly went on. So yeah.
This is I love this movie. This is The Seventh Seal. This is probably the only Ingmar Bergman film that I think I've seen. I'm not sure. They're all, you can tell an Ingmar Bergman film when you see one. The This is, I don't know if it's his first or performance, but this is Max von Sydow. He is a knight returning from the Crusades,
Mm.
and he's essentially losing his faith as to why he's been doing what he's done. His squire has pretty much lost his faith completely, and they return home to a plague-ridden world. And the the film is black and white, dark, dank. Bergman just fills the film with atmosphere of dread, and you know what's coming, and there's death. And on the
You got a tick
Yeah,
from Ben.
man, it is a great film. Death confronts the knight to take him away because the plague is here, and the knight convinces Death to play a game of chess. And the game of chess is to delay. As long as I play this game of chess, my fate will be delayed, and maybe I can even beat Death. And I won't go into any more about the film because it is such a good story. It is in Swedish, of course. Again, I watch with subtitles, but you don't have to read the subtitles. You know what's going on in the film. That's what a good foreign language film does. It tells you the story through through the performances, through the expressiveness of the actors. And I can't say enough about the film. It's also, I will say this, it's a short film. It's
Yeah,
pretty
I was gonna
short.
say, yeah.
It's under it's less than 2 and 3, it's less than an hour and 3/4. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. So it's an easy watch, and if you haven't seen it, I most highly recommend the film.
Yeah. I think it's sorry, it sounds like Bill and Ted again. I'm guessing Bill
No,
and
it's
like the
not Bill and
second one. No, because of the, like Bill and Ted, the bogus of journey, isn't it? I'm guessing because of the death.
Gee,
But
I
this
wonder
always
who copied whom.
yeah, yeah. This always reminds like this where he played on was it Waiting for Godot? That
Mhm.
kind of thing, but they're making it like they're bringing it really dark into with the with death being center stage on it. It's like yeah, so it's things. I'm guessing everybody likes Bill and Ted today. I do too. It's a fun movie, but yeah, this is yeah. It was an honorable mention. It nearly made it. I was like, oh, does it? Does it go there? But yeah, it is. It's very short. I can't remember how many.
It is.
It isn't like it's less than 90 minutes, isn't it? It's got to
Yes,
be.
it is. I think so.
I'm
It's
just
a
to see if I can
easy
find it. So
watch.
yeah, it's a good, really dark, but really good movie. Yeah, it's one of those that I suppose goes under the radar, but it is a very good movie. Yeah, honorable mention for me. But yeah, the late Max von Sydow, is it? I can't
Sit
pronounce
off.
his name.
I'm
Sydow,
terrible.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, he's great in it. So Yeah, a good one. I like that. My next one, I must say, came in today. One of the ones that when I was like, oh, I completely forgot about this movie, and then I remembered. I found it thoroughly enjoyable, and I would watch it all better than other ones that I was going to recommend. And it's probably the only one that one of the only. I think I've got two, maybe, but this is a kind of a comedy slapstick one. So it's a fantasy like that, and it has every star that you could probably name on it who's really funny
Ooh,
at the time. It's a 90s one. So, and I'm guessing a lot of people have seen that, and it's Mystery Men.
I have not
It's
seen
very
Mystery Men.
underrated, but it's got Ben Stiller in it, William H Macy. It's got some great like stars in it, and it's literally hilarious. So the concept is they are a group of wannabe superheroes. Is that's the only way I could? There you go. Abe says classic. Yeah,
Classic
and
Abe. Okay,
yeah,
you've convinced me.
it's well, it's 99, but it didn't get well received, and I think later it got better with age. But Ben Stiller in it is hilarious because they all think they are superheroes, and they've all got I can't remember their names like that. Like I know how I say the shoveler. There we go. Like mostly, so it's literally so bad, and it's everybody's just got the worst like superhero skills, I suppose you want to call them, ever things. But they all go
That's
against like
funny.
the top. We need to go. We need to be top. Against the villains, but it is so cheesy and so great. It there you go. So yeah, it is a very underrated, hilarious movie. It's got better. It has. When I first watched it, I was like, oh, I get what they're doing, but it's not so funny. But then it's one of those ones, like I suppose, like Anchorman, you get to love and love more as you see it. So yeah, it's really funny, and a lot of it they do it as if they're talking into the screen directly. So it's quite funny how Ben Stiller does it, and he does a lot of over the top acting. So it is very funny. So this is kind of my funny funny one. Pull my finger. Oh yeah, Agent 47. Yeah, if you've not seen that, yeah, there is a funny bit called Paul My. Yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, so Ben's got somebody she likes.
You're giving me a lot of homework. I have
I know
so
it's a
many
good
more.
one.
It's big. I mean, it is such a broad category, and everything crosses over. And like you said, we specifically carved out space. We specifically carved out Lord of the Rings, but then everything else is open.
Yeah, that's why I said I was like, this. I said this one came in today when I was looking at something else, and I was like, I'm going to put this in, and then this came up as like, oh, this is on your recommendation on your things. I was like, oh, I haven't seen that, and I was like, which one? Which one? So
Oh
yeah, I
wow.
threw one away, and
All right, we'll
yeah,
have to
and
talk about the throwaways at the end, like we
yeah,
did last time, because I have some
but
throwaways
it
too.
was good. Like, yeah, if you want to have a laugh, just sit down with a bit of fantasy. It takes them, and it's quite good for modern, I suppose, because it does take the Mickey out of like superheroes. What is good, I suppose, for today is even better that they actually do it. So now my next one is actually on the. Anybody can guess it's actually on the background. So your next one. So do you want to go there?
I was wondering if there were a handful of other movies that we might, have to say, "Oh, you can't use that one," because maybe a lot of people will, but it's Highlander, and it has to be on my list because I always say my entree into geekdom, there are 4 things that defined me as a geek as a kid. It was Transformers comic book and cartoon. It was Battlestar Galactica. It was finding the Highlander television series,
Right.
and then I watched the film after the television series. And then my family watching the old Star Trek, the classic Star
Hmm,
Trek. And those were, when we talk about our geek journeys, that was my geek journey.
yeah.
And I watched the television series, which I
Really? First, you
I
watch the TVs?
still adore Adrian Paul.
Oh,
He's a YouTuber,
oh,
by the way. He has some
hmm,
really great YouTubes. But then when I saw the film, it I love the story. This is all about the lore I love the idea, of immortals.
There must be only one.
And the film, this film also has, for me, tell me if I'm wrong, the
The best
best
soundtrack.
film opening in the history of film, because when you see on the screen,
Oh yeah, well, they're with the backflash when he's watching the wrestling.
you see the
I
words
love
come
that.
on the
Yeah.
screen, and the
Oh yeah.
words, and then
It comes.
Queen, and then Freddie
Yeah.
comes in with "Here We Are."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And
I always think this movie, if you took the soundtrack out of it, like Queen, would it be this good?
No,
Because they
no,
literally like they have some really good epic songs in this. You're like, Queen nailed this. Like, and I always think it's weird because like Queen were quite big at this time. You know, they
yeah,
were doing really well. And I'm like, how did they get like somebody can't sing? Do you fancy doing with this guy he's French, called Christopher Lambert, to do this thing about um a, Sean Connery's playing this Scottish accent Spanish guy, who then a French guy is playing a Scottish guy. And
yeah.
I was like, how did they pitch it to him to go, yes, we're doing the soundtrack? It's like,
I actually
loved it.
read up on how it came together.
Ah.
Because technically there is no soundtrack to the movie. It is the album was already in development. A Kind of Magic was in development
I love
before
that song.
Highlander was even pitched to Queen, and then the other songs came together, and it ended up on that album. But
now
the
I'm guessing
music,
everybody's watched this. Now I always get sad when she dies. And he's like telling the story about them in the meadow, and like, like she's really old, and he's like,
that's the immortal life, right?
Every time I'm like, it's just that whole scene in like the music just plays in, then he goes outside, and it's like Queen again, like how it gets built up, and it's just like, oh, it's so sad. I'm like, oh.
Well, it's
every
such
time.
a good. I think that story grabs me. It's the Aragorn Arwen story too. It's Doctor Who's story, right?
Yeah.
It's when you're immortal, people you love will die,
and I'm
you will
guessing
be alone.
you're gonna kind of wait and go into like the remake with Henry Cavill
for one reason only.
That's what my girlfriend said. She was like, I'm probably going to watch that. And I was like, is it because Henry Cavill's in it? She was like, yeah. I went, do you remember the last one? She was like, they do something with swords and cuts off people's heads, don't it? And like that. I was like, oh, like you can be as much of a normie as anything. But yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it comes off the way it should. But because we all know Henry Cavill really loves these stories, and he will take very great care of it, I think. So
I've got an Englishman playing a Scot this time. They can't do a Scots playing a Scot.
Getting closer.
Okay.
But just one more about Highlander. All these movies we've talked about, not many of them won awards, right? They might win for costume or best effect, and Highlander wasn't even obviously nominated for anything, including it didn't even win for music. But the performance that I thought was so good. Obviously, Sean Connery's amazing. The guy who played the Kurgan, Clancy Brown, wasn't he good?
Oh,
he's great.
Great in it. He's like,
that was such a great character.
And the words that I remember when what is this? Is this 80s, 87? I'm gonna guess.
This is 1986.
86. And I remember watching it, and I was terrified of him. And I remember being really.
You should have been.
I was like really young, and I'm like, especially when he gets he puts that the studded bits around his neck to keep his neck in,
to keep his head together. Yeah,
it's like, and it's like, but it's just like how he does it is like when you've got spoiler, if anybody hasn't seen it, you should be watching it straight. But is when he gets Sean Connery character, and that moment you're like, oh, it's like a really good mentor, and then kind of he takes you like, oh no, and it's just like, yeah, it's good, it's things, but.
So you made a little grimace when I mentioned the television series. Did you not like it? I loved it. God, I loved it.
No, I could not get into it. I don't know why. I just love this. I loved Highlander so much, and that was yeah, I just can go like you got then the quickening, the
Yeah.
second one is
No,
I
that was
get
horrific.
it's horrid, and then they tried to reboot Highlander again with the
There is only
Sorcerer,
one
wasn't it?
Highlander movie. There's only
Yeah, and
one
it's
Highlander
yeah,
film. Mm-mm.
and it this is one where it did so well, but it has to end on the one movie because it is
Yes.
about the one, and it is, and it's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just has to. It's either you make a massive trilogy out of it, or it's just
Yeah.
one off, bang done, because it needs that epic ending of that you're going, oh, is he going to get there? Is he? What's going to happen? Especially at the end. Yeah, when he arrives and he becomes the one, you don't know exactly what's actually happened, and I think that's quite good. He's become like
Yeah.
what, and it just leaves you in a bit of ooh, But I love this movie. I do. It is fun. I like it when it paces through the different time eras. There's that one where he does a
Yes.
duel and he does it drunk. I find that
Yes.
hilarious. Every time he's like, it's like that. And he goes, sir, get a pistol. And he's just like, no, we're going to shoot you. It's brilliant. So, oh,
I'm glad we agree on that. Yay. So was this on your
yeah.
honorable mentions
It
or
was. I took it off because I was like, is it too obvious? Is it
it's
too
too
obvious?
I know,
Yeah,
but
I
then I
know.
thought if we didn't say
No,
it, it would be wrong.
I
And it's
know.
really important to me, so I had to have it on here.
Yeah. Now, my next one is another comedy. Comedy? Is it comedy? It's a weird one. It didn't do well at the cinema, and I think it probably was a very very big flop. Hey, Yen Anderson. I'm
Yes.
not Yen. Yes. Yeah. It's it's yeah. This was a hard flop, a really really hard flop, but it's really funny. And it's got a lot of characters in it that shouldn't work. And it's the Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
I've
I
never
lo-
seen it. I've heard
oh,
about it.
it should be a Monty Python. I'm guessing it's Telly Gillingham. It's Eric Idle's in it. It's got John Neville playing the Baron, but it's got some weird. Like seriously, when like you first watch, you're like, oh, I understand why it didn't do well at the cinema, but it is really, really bizarre. I mean, it's got like Uma Thurman in it, who plays like Venus, and she comes out of an oyster with like everything's covered, and it's like really showing. It's got like Robin Williams in it, God bless him. He's like this spinning head thing, and he's like but everybody comic like genius in it, and it's just a weird movie. It's like one of those ones. It only could be a Terry Gilliam film.
Yeah.
And nobody else
Yeah.
could pull it off because it is so weird. But it's very. If you like Monty Python, it's very, very Monty Python, but very, very odd. I don't get how they could even. Yeah, there you go. Like Agent 47. It's a kind of weird film, but it's a fun film. Yeah, it's a. Yeah, if you've not seen it, go and watch it because you need to watch it again because the first time you watch it, you'll be like, well, that's odd. Like when you watch it, like it's just an odd experience. And it's just like, yeah, it's a I can't even explain it. It's like the best way to explain it is it's a weird was it around the world in 80 days, but it's
Okay.
set in like this weird like 18th century Europe again. I'm guessing I'm like that period, but they travel across different kind of non-continents at the same time. It's weird, and it's got like Eric Idle is just a really like he's really fast. He's like the Flash, but yeah, it's got like beheadings, a lot of sex references.
You need
It's just
beheadings.
yeah, and it's kind of like if Time Bandits meet Monty Python meet around the world in 80 days, and then you threw in Robin Williams kind of just did his stand-up comedian jokes for it. That's kind of what it is. Yeah, it's a weird, lovable, completely flopped at the cinema, complete flop. But I kind of like it. And it's got like Oliver Reed in it. It's like there are some really classic actors. You're like, oh, were you in the sound stage next door? And they just pulled you in, but you've just done this epic bit. Like everybody's got like like Time Bandits. They have like these great
Mhm.
actors that have got like 5 minutes on screen time, and they just go. This is kind of very similar to it. So it's very very Telly gimmick.
I don't
Telly
even
Gilliam.
think it had a release here. And because I've heard of it, and in my head, I thought it was an older film. So now, what year is this? This has to be
Oh, it's got to be
relative,
70s, isn't it? Is it 70s?
relatively
Oh, no, a
recent.
later. Oh, 88. I thought it was going to be like
Wow.
earlier. Yeah. So, yeah. So, but yeah, it's, it's bizarre. It's just, I can't explain the movie. Otherwise, it's just one to watch because it is just bizarre. Like, there are some weird moments in it. You're like, I don't get why they did that, but it works in a quirky Monty Python kind of
Yeah.
style way. Yeah,
Oh, it's on my
yeah,
list. Another one
there
on the
you
list. And I'm
go. Oh,
thinking from the chat, we need a watch party. It sounds like
yeah.
we need to come together,
Ooh.
especially on the films that we've all seen. It's so great to watch with people who love the films you love, and then you kind of hear why it's important to them, and and you get more out of it by hearing. That's why I enjoy talking to you about films, because I get more out of films because I'm hearing why they made an impression on you. So I think we need a watch party.
Now, I'm glad on this one because you've just put it in the chat. You didn't pick the remake.
Never. No. So this one, this is the oldest one on my list.
Yeah.
So this is The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1945. We would never have a rewatch because this is the amazing Angela Lansbury in this film, along with Herb Hatfield plays Dorian Gray. I'd never heard of him before and never seen him since. But George Sanders is one of those great old Hollywood actors that shows up everywhere, right? And he gets top billing. So he gets the top billing, and he's not even Dorian Gray in the photo, in the film. So this is the classic. This is the classic story of a young person consumed by narcissism and wanting to retain his looks forever. And we know that the the deal he makes is, kind of a deal with the devil, is that as this portrait of him is painted, it is preserving his youth. The portrait gets hidden away, the portrait ages and becomes more decrepit, but it's not about age. It's about Dorian Gray falling into, horrible vices like drugs and drink and treating women very badly, and all because he's wealthy, he can do whatever he wants. The picture is the portrait is illustrating the character deterioration, not necessarily the aging. And I won't go into any more because the ending is really interesting and fun. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, it's like, I thought,
Read
is
the
this
book
like,
as well. Read the
oh
book.
my gosh, Oscar
Read
Wilde,
the
read
book.
a
Oscar
book.
what? I like this version, and I can take the remake, I suppose you would call it. Like, well, I think it's just called Dorian Gray. It's not called Picture
Dorian
of
Gray.
Dorian Gray. But I just love the Gothic novel so much. I just love it. So I it's one of those ones where the book is so much better than they've ever. You can't go
Yes.
into because it tells on your own plane, on your own mind in the book, and I
Yes.
love that. It gets you to think about your darkest faults and things like that. And I know people, you could say like it does have a hidden homosexual tone to it, but it's Oscar Wilde, so it is going to, and it kind of plays off the society, not just of what he was going through, but society in general. So I love that. And then it kind of, the modern day, you could read it now and get that kind of nuance of what your struggles are, of what you would do, to preserve yourself, I suppose, in
Yes.
in all mannerism. But that, what, how you would go, I suppose, down the rabbit hole of like
Give up your
being
soul.
corrupted. Yeah.
Giving
Yeah.
up your soul.
Yeah. So
It was,
I
and
love it.
I thought, okay, it's not horror because it's not terrifying. It's not scary.
No, it's not. It's
It's just psychological.
psychological. There you go.
Mhm.
Jinx.
It's fantastical,
Yeah.
because there is a supernatural element to it. So,
I do
glad you
like
like the
this. Is
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, but again, the novel just does it to me. So I wouldn't put it
Yeah,
on my list just because the novel is so much better.
it is.
I prefer The League of the Extraordinary Gentlemen. That isn't a good movie though. That was missed out. I like the it could be really good. It's nothing like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You know, I didn't mind Sean Connery in it though. He was quite good as always. But yeah,
He
it's
always.
not good. Not a good portrayal of the movie. But yeah, Picture of Dorian Gray. Go and read Oscar Wilde.
Go
It is
read
a
the
good
book.
one. Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, my next one is a French one. Okay. It's a dark. I'm guessing it's another dark one. So it was around this time where the French kind of directors were doing very dark kind of movies. So this one is there you go. Is The City of Lost Children.
Ooh, you're educating me. I haven't heard of this one either.
Ron Perlman movie. So it's of course, in French. Now, this is one of the ones where this is it's you ever heard the movie Delicatessen?
No, I'm just looking at it on top of the marquee there.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of director. He went on to do Alien 4. So with the revamp with Ron Perlman's in that. But this is it's a very, very dark. It is very dark. It's easiest way to summarize it. Mad scientist is kidnapping children to take their dreams to slow down his process of decay. So that's how he does it. If he can dream, and of course the dreams of children are uplifting, so it will slow down his process even more. He can take older, but they don't do it so much. So he's kidnapping all the children. So it's Ron Perlman. He's brother, I think it is, gets taken, and Ron Perlman is a circus. I suppose you best would call it is like the old day circus freak. He is the strong man in the circus, and he's the strongest man in France, I suppose. And he has to then go on this kind of adventure to save, all the kids and all the children, and all that. But it's very, very dark. It's like that. But yeah, again, this only works in the French language. You have to watch it in French. It's one of those, but it is very quirky. It is very dystopian, like French. They went really dark at that time. So yeah, it's a good one. And yeah, it's now Ron Perlman's the weird one, and he's the bad scientist in real world. So not like he was now. Yeah, sure. Less of that, but yeah, it's a good one. I can't remember if this has got to be 90s, 95. So yeah, it's very that time when Delicatessen. I remember that came out in the UK, like after it did so well in France, and I would call that a bit more horror-ish sci-fi. So then that did so well, then this pumped out, and then of course the director got more Hollywood work, so it's good.
Well, this discussion has made me realize yet again that our lack of foreign film exposure here is really unfortunate, because there are so many foreign films that that few people in the US would even consider. Yeah. Few people would consider a foreign language film other than very few. Martial arts films, yes, that would be the one area where a foreign language film would have no problem here, but it's unfortunate, and so it'll make me look for them more frequently.
Yeah, I say, like, I do, like, it's I think that like early 90s to things, like it was when like French cinema, they started getting like new writers and new directors as well, and they started going really like weird dark, I suppose, like that. So they're going like everything was like something wrong with it, like something wrong with the world. So they kind of got that kind of really cool, and it works. So yeah, it's a highly dystopia of but like this weird, like, oh, that's you'd like like how the mind works is like the weirdness of the mind of like, how did you get that even on a screenplay? It's I like it. So yeah, highly recommended.
On my list. My list is getting longer.
Oh, okay.
This one was on one.
It's not a violation, but I will let you have this because it was on one of my other lists. But I will let you. And this is like, well,
again, it's an obvious one, right? I think you could probably make a real list of the 5 obvious fantasy films, and this would be on there.
I put this in my. I think I put it in my adventure movie, but I can. It's one of those cross.
I think you did.
Yeah, this is a cross genre one, isn't it? So it's
So We just
Let me
have to
just.
because it's so important. And again, it's the probably the genesis of a lot of
Are you ready?
similar films.
1, 2, 3. It is probably most people top 10. It's got to be.
It
It's got to be
has
in.
to
It's got
be.
to be.
It has
And
to
all I
be.
have to say before I things,
Say it.
as you wish.
Oh, it's the Princess
Oh.
Bride. I thought you were gonna tell me that your name was Inigo Montoya.
No,
You
as you
killed
wish.
my father. Prepare to
Prepared to
die.
die.
But as you wish. The I love this film. I think I'm not even going to go into. Everyone knows why we love this film. It is the simple tale that has been retold in so many different ways. Right? There's a damsel in distress who needs a rescue, and a band of ragtag pseudo freaks is put together to rescue the damsel in distress, and they encounter just it's such a simple film, and this is a Rob Reiner film, and it has the characteristic traits of the Rob Reiner film. Super witty, um, you know, it has characters who understand their own faults, which I absolutely adore. And as you wish, okay, so how many of us watching the film got sucked into the story and
That's
keeps
a cup.
forgetting yeah, we keep forgetting that there's a grandfather reading a story to a sick
Yeah.
grandchild. We forget. And at the very end, when the kid says, "Can you come back today, Grandpa?" And Grandpa turns around and says, "As you wish," because in the story, the characters tell you what "as you wish" really means. And that breaks me up every time when Grandpa says "as you wish." And when I said, "Is this a violation?" We didn't want to be too obvious, so I struggled with taking this off, but I really have to. If there's anyone out there
That's
who
why I
hasn't
put it in
seen
my
it,
adventure. It
you
has to
have to
be. It
see
is.
it.
You have to put it on a list and just talk about it. So this is like the second time, and you cannot hate this movie, can you? You cannot. There is literally. This is one of those ones. It's like a midday Sunday one, and it's it's got everything. It's got the sword fighting, the betrayal, the romance, pirates. It's like that.
Yes.
So it's literally it's a good one. But yeah,
And
as
there's
I
so
think we
much
said last.
love in this movie, not just the
Mm.
love between Buttercup and the man in black, but you know, Inigo Montoya, when he says, "I miss my father." Oh my gosh, this is a goofy, silly movie that tears at your heartstrings multiple times with
And
just
it's
a
got the
few
the
words.
cutest characters, Andre the Giant. He
Mm,
plays like the cutest giant. You just want to go, I want to cuddle.
just
And it's
want to
like
hug
that.
him.
Yeah,
And
oh,
he's so
yeah,
proud of himself I
yeah.
did something right. Oh,
I remember watching the documentary about Andre the Giant, and when he was playing this, like nobody
the
knew
good
how much
documentary.
pain, yeah, how much
Hmm.
pain he was in making this, and it's just like, oh, that is a very sad documentary, but really, really good sad, I suppose. But yeah, yeah, I can't. We could simp for this movie a lot. We could have a princess like a whole evening, couldn't we, about
We
like that?
could.
So it
We
is good.
could.
They go. What I would do a watch party just to watch this because you
Yes,
can watch it again. Yes,
I'm
that's
in.
it. So yeah. Now my next one is another Ray Harryhausen movie.
It was hard
Now,
to limit my list to only one. I felt like I could have chosen another.
but I had two on there. But this one, it was hard to decide which one I liked
Well,
the
let's see which
best.
one you went with because I put
Now,
the other one of mine on my honorable mention
ah,
list.
so
Let's see
now
which
there's
one.
multiples ones there. There's like he's zones, and it's just because I love the character, and it's an Arabian Nights character. So that might give it away. Now there's a few of these, but I chose the Golden Voyage
You did?
of
Okay.
Sinbad. So you could pick them all. The seventh, what do I like? So we had like the seventh voyage of Sinbad. You can have that on there. So they're so yeah. So I picked this one. You could have Jason and the Argonauts.
I picked
Another
Jason
voyage.
and the Argonauts. That was the
Yeah,
other one that I
yeah. So,
have on my,
but
honorable mention list.
yeah, I love the novelization of this as well. I love Sinbad. I was
Mhm.
literally when I was younger. You get me in Sinbad. I want to be a Sinbad. So yeah, this I just love it, and it's a very one of those mythological, old. stories, isn't it? It's just very simply done, like the Iliad and all that,
Oh, it's
Mystical
wonderful.
Arabian Nights.
They
It's just
hold
like,
up.
it's just, yeah, I suppose in this like the Prince Sinbad, I mean, he's not, but goes off adventure, creatures has to come back, and it's just brilliant. So yeah, hey Tomby. So yeah, so yeah, Harry Harrison, yeah, he makes these movies again. He does with the creature animation and all that. Yeah, the story is a very simple story, but I said you could pick any. I would pick any Sinbad movie, anything like that. So I would just love it. And this is one of those ones I just want them to do Arabian Nights remake good, do
Yeah,
a one and do it honorably and do it well. And it's
it's
like
a
that. It's
great
like it
story.
is one of those like, I hate to be super about it, but I want them to do like Arabian Nights, make those that things, and then make the Odyssey. Get
Yes.
Homer done perfect. I want not just so move on from Achilles. I want to get every other character because
Mhm.
it's more interesting, and we get that old TV ones, don't we? So it's you just want to go so this I just want it done very well. Tumby has just gifted 5 memberships to the channel,
Tumby.
and loads of you just got it. Jen, was it Bart? I can't say it's your first name, but Barry and Simon, yeah, all got one. Right. So yeah, thank you, Tumby. How to you again. So yeah, I love Sinbad. I love.
Classic.
I think I did this when I did my venture. I didn't realize how many ones I like when there's a ship. So
That's
give me
right.
a boat, give me a
That's right.
pirate, give me navy. I love
Your
it. So
action and your
yeah,
adventure films were flooded
yeah,
literally with
yeah. So, but I
ships.
think again, it's I think we went and talked to like it's like your grandparents, like just putting it on this. It's like
Mhm.
it's early Saturday like TV, isn't it? So it's
It is.
very, very well done. So yeah,
Well,
I
you list these are the classic stories are the
mm,
ones that will hold up if they're done well. And you mentioned the Odyssey or film. There are probably several stories we want to see done well. And the Stephen Fry had written Mythos. Kind of a I thought it was a really well done writing of a number of Greek myths, and I had always hoped that that would be turned part of that would be turned into a film or a series of
yeah,
films or a TV series. So hopefully that might happen someday because I don't think we have enough of that. I could do with a
no,
lot more mythology in my films, and that's why I
yeah.
liked I enjoy Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, well, I say like even like Brad Pitt's 4. We're just going to go off topic like that kind of moving into that. I wish they
Hmm.
went on that. They wasn't well received for, but I liked it, and I just wish they made it on like it's not the true story to what it was, but it was good at for what it was. If they did like an epic, they could do like an epic series on it and base that do the Battle of Troy over like
Hmm.
the decade as it was, and actually go into like Ajax and all that and all the other heroes. It'd be good, but
It
it's
would
very
be
dark.
really
The
good.
actual thing, but very
The stories are
dark.
great
Yeah.
though.
Hmm.
You know,
But they've got a lesson. They've got always got a life lessons. So that's why. Yeah. So that's why they're always good.
absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a
Ooh.
good one. I need to rewatch. I'm sure my children haven't watched Ray Harryhausen, and
Mm.
I hope kids today would appreciate that those effects, which don't look as dazzling as effects today, were really groundbreaking back then, and fun, just absolute fun for a film.
Ooh.
My next one
Yeah.
probably fits in a different category. I have all these films that fit in multiple categories.
Mm.
Um,
So
Probably
this is. Oh,
fits
you
in the
went for.
family category.
No, yeah. I was gonna say which version it, and then I just saw it.
The
The
original
older.
version, definitely
Yeah.
the original
This
version.
I'm guessing this is another musical. Would you class it as
I
well?
think I would. There's at least yeah, there's probably a few songs in there. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Uh,
Yeah, I guess it is a musical, but definitely a fantasy. It's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yay.
This is one I think I know you spoke earlier about a film that kind of ran around Christmas time.
Yeah.
This movie, I guess because of the chocolate, always ran around Easter time here in the States, and so you always knew it was going to be on television. it was just the dazzling visuals, and Willy Wonka, just Gene Wilder being such a great character, and the kids being, every one of us knew kids like those kids,
Mhm.
and you were just so rooting for Charlie, and you loved his grandpa, the uh, Jack Albertson, uh, uh, based on the book by Roald Dahl that many of us read as kids. I love this movie. I just do. Many of these fantasy movies, they're either slashing, slaying movies or good feel good, take you out of this world
Yeah.
movie, and
I
I
I
like this one.
I think they did well casting Gene Wilder because he's so quirky in it.
And
He owns
physical,
that
he's a
part.
physical
Yeah,
comedian.
it's like that. So yeah, it is a. It's just a. It is for our era. It's a like one you just grew up on, isn't it? It's just like you always. It's always on. Sometime during the year, you're always going to get it, and it is just a. Yeah, even I don't like musicals, but I can watch this. So, but it's but it's got a dark undertone to it at the end.
Very
So
dark.
this one,
The
very
book
dark
is even
undertone.
darker.
Yeah. So,
Right in
but
the book, I won't
mm,
say it if you haven't read the book, but yeah, these kids, they get what's coming to them in the book,
yeah,
for sure.
it's good, and you got the Oompa Loompas. So
Got the Oompa Loompas.
Oompa
I didn't
Loompa,
mind the
do do
Johnny Depp
do do.
remake. I didn't mind it at all. It's just that the original is so much better.
Yeah, it's a you can't I can't say a negative about it. It's like it is like I would say for me, it's one that if it's on, I will just it's be on. You watch it, but it's not one I'll go ooh, put it on DVD. But it's one if it's one that's on TV, you're like oh I like this, and then there's bit and like the bit that always like there's as a kid, there's always one bit that used to scare you, and it's when they're going in the water,
In the
and it's
tunnel.
like, and it's and he's going a bit crazy, and you're like, what is going on? It's just like, yeah, you're like, what the hell? And it's got like, all like they went very, oh, how do we do some graphics? And they just did this like, oh, let's have some big like quirky like red screen and then just make it a little bit psychedelic with some like
Yeah.
weird but have frogs and stuff on it, don't they? It's like very it's just like and as a kid I remember going that's a bit odd, and I always used to fast forward on the VHS at least.
It's meant to make you nauseous, and it
Yeah,
certainly
it's
does.
basic.
That's the part that's meant to really make you nauseous.
You've only seen the Johnny Depp one. Ah,
Oh, Klisu, that's why.
Clissy.
You have to see the original.
Yeah, go and watch that. It is fun. Yeah, it's the musical sections in this is 10 times better than the Johnny Depp one. I must say, if you do like it, if you like
Oh,
Johnny
for
Depp one,
sure.
you're gonna like this one because Johnny Depp plays it a bit.
Over the top, like Johnny Depp.
Yeah, yeah. He just It's I was gonna say it's Tim Burton. He plays it like he directed like Tim Burton. That's what he's doing. Whereas Jim Wilder plays just I'm a bit mad, but I'm very intelligent kind of thing, and he plays it very very well.
Yes.
So I can't believe you only seen the Joker. That's it. All right, my next one is probably very. I don't know. This is where chat. If you've heard this one, it's well done because this is a very very bizarre one. Not a lot of people have heard it, but when I recommend it and then they go and watch it, they love it because it's just a bit. It's the best way to describe it is if Goonies had werewolves and vampires in it, and it's the Monster Squad.
Not
This
heard
is
of it.
going to exactly.
Who's heard of it
Not
in
a,
chat?
no. Anybody heard this? Has anybody seen Monster Squad? And there's no real famous people in it. It's like all the stars of, I suppose, the 80s who were in kind of bit parts in higher movies, but it's modern day vampires, Dracula, sorry, werewolf, Frankenstein, the Mummy, Swamp, a variation of Swamp Thing have all come into play, and they're after I'm guessing the blood of a virgin, and like to get it to open up the portal so they can then bring everything forth to rule the world. And it's just like, and these, like, I suppose it's like the Goonie gang That's the only way. But all these kids try and stop, Dracula and
Oh
all
my
that.
gosh.
And it's just a very good teen fun movie. And it's just like how like those 80s movies that it's in like nowhere in a hometown in the middle of nowhere in
Exactly.
America and everything goes wrong. So it's just it is play on the Goonies, but it is very,
And is
very,
it the
very good.
adults are oblivious? They don't even know what's going on.
Nobody
Yeah,
knows what's going on
that's
except
typical.
for that's it. Yeah. And like it's every, they have like the jock, I suppose, like the damsel in distress who's like, the innocent girl who pretends she's the virgin, and of course she's not a
Of
virgin,
course not.
and it's like that, and then it has like the geek, the nerd, and it's all that, and like the one who thinks he's the best at everything but not, and it's just like it's like geeky because they're all like reading comics of like of all like Dracula, like Tomb of Dracula or something like that. So it's quite funny, but it's just a good fun one. So this is like fantasy, not horror because it's not horror. It is funny, like the little girl on it, like not really spoiled. Her best friend becomes Frankenstein's monster. So that's it, and then of
And it was
course,
fine. It's totally
yeah,
fine.
that's it. It's
Everybody
fine.
becomes
She goes
Frankenstein.
around this little cute little girl walks around with like Frankenstein's monster go, and he's like, she just holds his hand and she's walking along the street. But yeah, it's very, very silly because again, none of the adults really are oblivious to what's going on. And then these kids have got to save the world in this nowhere town in America.
Great.
But
I'm gonna have to
it's
quit my job to watch all these movies on my
yeah,
list now.
it is good. Go anybody's not seen it, go watch it. It is just a very fun, enjoyable one. But yeah, it's a good. Uh,
All
ah,
right, it's on my list.
oh, is that what made
Ah,
you watch this one? Ah, oh no, it's not black and white. Oh, what? This one isn't black and white.
oh, they're
What's in black
in
and white?
chat. They're talking about Young Frankenstein in chat.
Oh,
They're going
young
on. They're in the
Frankenstein.
comedy
Game
section
one, yeah. Yes,
instead
a
of the
comedy.
fantasy section.
Yeah, that is a
That is a
comedy.
good
That is a
movie.
good movie. Yeah, Blazing Saddles or Bend
Walk
Over,
this
something like
way. This way.
that.
Walk this way.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just get Oh, you've actually picked an anime.
So we have
I can't remember if this was on my. Was this on my section? I can't remember now if I put it
I
on.
have to check your anime list to see if
Yeah,
it's
I can't remember if it
there.
was on there. I don't. I
Is it
think it's just maybe just missed out, but it is a very, very good movie. But
my last of my foreign language films? And I think we're off track because we had only one that we agreed on. So I may have
mm,
one more on the list, or one of us may have one extra on the list because last
I
time it
think it's you.
balanced
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But it's Spirited Away. It is a dazzling anime classic story. Now I do not know the voice actors. I mean, the names are. I'm sure they're famous voice actors. It follows the story of a young girl who's really swept into an other world, um, and she's going through the process of trying to both rescue her parents and escape the other world. I won't call it an underworld. It's not really an underworld. It's just another world. And she's being helped along by a few people along the way. As good Japanese anime does, it weaves in the elements of earth and water. And I won't give it away. Again, some of these films, because they're fantasy, we can't really talk about the plot because it gives it away too early. But she goes through the process of um, adventuring, being
Mm,
brave, um, solving puzzles, figuring her way out. The story itself is lovely and it's intriguing and it's interesting, but this movie is known for its animation. It is just all consuming beautiful animation. It won the Oscar the year it was 2001. This film was 2001, and it won the Oscar for best animated feature, and rightly so. It is absolutely dazzling. The story is a really good story. The characterization is good. It's funny in parts. It's very serious in parts. But I've seen it several times, and I really enjoy this film. Stasis, is it on? So it may have been
Yeah.
on your anime list.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It
Ben Dover
wasn't.
just said the one that was Howl's Moving Castle. That's the one I think I slipped. But great music on this one again. Viper, Billy Robot.
Yes.
It is. It is a good one. I've always remembered this one. It's just weird, like with the animals, because they're not animals. If that, like, they're the humans, and
Right. They're the
they're like
humans.
all the different. I suppose like there's some gods, witches, other wizards, and all that. And
No
it's like, I
face.
suppose,
There's no face.
yeah, it's like a parallel dimension, I
It
suppose it is,
is.
where
It
they've
is
all
a
been pulled into,
reflection
isn't it?
of
Yeah,
people in our
yeah.
dimension. And yeah, it's just, it's one of those movies that's very consuming. It does spirit you away when you watch this film. Now, is that it? Are you, is your list done? Do you have one more?
I've got one more.
Okay, so we're good. We're on track then.
Yeah, and this one is my earliest one. So this is my 1940s one.
Ooh, I can't wait.
No. So this is, I love this movie. I absolutely, when I was like, again, I think it was my stepdad put this on, and I adored it. Now, there, anybody who's seen the Disney version of Aladdin, then needs to watch the Thief of Baghdad, the
Oh,
1945, because if you watch this, Disney ripped everything off
yes.
Aladdin out of this movie, and I love this. Now, it is Aladdin. The concept is exactly the same, and it's about, Jafar's in it, the evil
Mm-hmm.
thing. But it's the live adaptation of kind of the Aladdin story with Abu, and without Aladdin. So it's like a Arabian Lights kind of tale. But I love this. It when I first watched it, I was drawn to it. Like, you have the magic carpet, you have, like, like the quirky thief, and he's trying out, and then you have, like, trying to get the princess, and then you have this real evil, like, things. But I remember it taking you, like, into that different world that I've never seen before, like old Baghdad. And it's like, yeah, I love this. So it's such high movie. This would be, in any category, easily my top 10, just because, not just
Nice.
nostalgia, it is just an epic movie. And yeah, it's if you watch the live action of the Aladdin one,
Yep.
and they had this, and they just completely missed the mark. It's like nobody went,
They
just
did.
watch FIFA Baghdad, and then you kind of get the story of how to do a live version of Aladdin, and they just completely do it. But yeah, it it's another love story, I guess, and I kind of got another fantasy love story in it. But Abu on it is great, and again, it's got some very, like, odd, quirky, like, uh animation on it. I remember there's one with the arms, the woman with the, like, she
Yeah.
has like 6 arms and that. It's very bizarre, and it is just one of those, like, and again, I suppose it's like a Sinbad kind of era tale, like what, like Hollywood started giving their money to. But yeah, I love it. I
I
love
like
this.
this
It,
film
yeah.
too. It didn't make my list, but
Mm,
I like this film too. I've
mm,
probably seen it twice, 2 or 3 times,
yeah.
on again, on television. There's a lot of films here I wish, I wish for theaters. And, as theaters are struggling to fill up today with all the nonsensical products coming out of Hollywood, throw some of these old ones back into
Yeah.
theaters and
That,
let people
like,
really
you
appreciate good films.
like, their old stories, like, they must have bought the rights years ago, and still hold the rights to,
Yes.
like, these the big studios. And it's like, yeah, you can CGI the hell out of it, but I don't think that's what people want. They want to actually get that story driven. Go by the story's there. You don't have to mess around with it. You just need to put it on screenplay. And I say, this era of Hollywood, they were doing it for you, and they were doing it well, and then they didn't need the CGI. So it's kind of, again, it's just if you're doing, again, Arabian Nights or a Homer or anything like that, based out, even if you do, like, I had some honorable, like, Excalibur, if you're going to do something like that, like Knights of the Round Table, the stories are there,
Mhm.
the mythological stories. It's like you can do them well without having to give a lot of
And
a
don't
lot
try to
away with it.
change them, and don't try to turn them into present day, and that's when they mess up, when they try to change the story,
Mm.
make it a present day story. But this is a good pick. I really like this film.
Oh, I don't know which. I'm gonna have to pick the first one.
Don't give me a violation for this one either. I said might make fun of me for at least one or two of these, and you may make fun of me for this one, but
I think anybody in chat, I don't think this is a very rare one. It's a bit odd. It's a bit obscure. I don't think anybody's probably watched it except for
la
Sandy
ha
Q.
ha ha. I think everybody's seen it too much, right?
Now, this one, I'm going to go for the first one, and I'm guessing you might do all as a bunch as a series.
The whole
So
bunch together.
go on then. Go
And it's
away.
a bunch. You've all figured out what it is because it's not a trilogy. It's a bunch. It's a batch of 8 films. It is the Harry Potter series, and while I do not think any of them are cinematic masterpieces, the way I would consider the Lord of the Rings film, and please, I am not putting Harry Potter anywhere close to the Lord of the Rings in terms of the cinematography, the story, etc. But I just, I think many of us have to acknowledge what Harry Potter has really done for the entire genre of fantasy, right? Bringing so many kids to literature. The books are 10 times better than the films. The problem is, many of the books should have been a minimum of 2 films, not just the last book. I think The Order of the Phoenix should have been 2 films. I think, although I don't mind the Half-Blood Prince film, I think they could have done a lot more with the Half-Blood Prince because that's my favorite book of the series. I think they really let the side down on Chamber of Secrets, despite great acting performances by the supporting cast. I find that the main cast, the 3 kids, at times shine, but at times really are not up to the task of the characters. But I find that they are surrounded, obviously, by the cream of the crop of the British film industry. And, we need not even go past the name Alan Rickman, who always is about this film, the series of films. He certainly outdid himself in the performances, but you can just go from film to film and find staggeringly good performances. I put it here because this is recommendations, and I recommend these films to everyone. I recommend the books first, but I
Can I
do
just ask?
recommend the films.
Can I just butt in there? But what do you call the first one?
So unfortunately, there are American versions of all the books. All the books. The title of this first
I put the correct title up.
yeah, it's the correct title. The title of the first book in the United States was "And the Sorcerer's Stone," because Americans are too dumb to know what the word philosopher means. But there are other changes to the books that really disturb me, and silly things like when they're on the
Taking out the
Hogwarts.
U's.
Yeah, well, there's that. When they're on the Hogwarts Express, and they're the snack trolley comes down the aisle. We don't say trolley, we say cart. And in the book, it was corrected to say cart.
Oh.
We need lovely words like trolley in our vernacular here. So that was disturbing. The audiobook situation here was
Yeah, but I'm guessing that comes from a British saying of trolley dolly. And
but
you probably don't know what a trolley dolly is. A trolley
no.
dolly is an old lady,
Okay.
dolly,
With it.
who used to like
Oh.
a tray of cups of tea, and it used to be the
Oh.
trolley dolly. So
See,
it's a
I
very,
want
I
to
guess,
hear that.
a very London thing that you're called. It's on a trolley, and you're the trolley dolly, and it's
But
coming
guess
from
what?
like
How
tea
do we
break, everyone, tea
Mhm.
break. It's like So
Well,
you'd
how do
be the
we
trolley
learn
dolly.
these things except by reading new
Yeah.
words and new,
I must say, I'm going to put my hand up. I've never read Harry Potter. I think it skipped over me just slightly being a bit too older. And yeah, I've had to kind of, read passages to like nieces and all that and then be really installed in. But the films I like. And that's the best way. Then, as you
Mhm.
said, they're not
Yep. They're
masterpieces.
not
They're
masterpieces.
not outstanding. Like the Philosopher's Stone, you could see they budget was low,
Yes.
and it was literally they didn't know if it was going to be, and then it took off. They didn't have the mindset, "Oh, it's going to work," you know. But they are sit down, have a bit of fun, and watch something. And even now, I probably can. I know it. I've seen them so many times that I know everything. But yeah, Alan Rickman in it. You kind of wanted that backstory, as I've not read the books, and when you get to that, you're like, oh, I wanted to know more from the start. And it's, you know, and I'm guessing that educates people to go and want to read the books. But yeah, it's not things. But I'm glad Warner Brothers didn't get their way, and it was going to be set in New York, so that could have been
Thank
awful.
goodness. And of
Yeah,
course they did their dastardly work with the what is it? The Tales of Dumbledore and the Fantastic Beasts and all that.
mm.
Don't like those.
I must say I like the first movie, and then they
Did
just
you?
went down
Yeah.
this kind of, what are they kind of doing? It's just a bit. Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
A little
so
too on the silly side, but
yeah, it did. It could have been fun. It could have been great, but it was, yeah, it was a missed moment, I think. So yeah, actually, fantastic books. Ooh.
yes, Prisoner of Azkaban. That's that
See,
one.
this is
And
where the books are. I'm gonna have to go to your
yep,
things to that.
that and the Half-Blood Prince are my two favorite films. But
Yeah.
yes, Greg, fantastic books. And unfortunately, here in the States, we did not get the Stephen Fry audiobook. And there's really the only way to get it is for me to literally
Really,
go to one.
I've kind of heard my niece again listening to that. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's really good. Like how you
Yes.
wouldn't listen to it with Stephen Fry. I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't, like, you listen to bits of it I've heard,
Yes.
and you're like, oh, he's got it down. It's like that. So,
All the
but
characters, and all due respect, Jim Dale is the person who did our audiobooks here in the States, and he's the voice
obviously
of the
love them.
Sorting Hat. But yeah, it's unfortunate, the whole copyright situation and rights and licensing here, that we couldn't get that
Mm,
audiobook. But yes, if you haven't read the books first,
I
watch the
know,
films. This is a recommendation. I want to hear what got bumped
I
off your
know,
list when you put which
I
one,
do.
monster, the whatever one you put up,
Uh,
Dark City. You
like,
said you put Dark City on and you bumped something. What did you bump?
no, the one I bumped, there's Mystery Men. That's the one that was the last
Okay.
mate. So I'm gonna do it, but I just want to go on the book thing now, because I do. I love Douglas Adams, and I just want them. I know I love the BBC series.
Mm-hmm.
I love the radio one. I hate the movie, and I
I
wish
hate
they
the
did that
movie
thing.
too.
And that's why I would love to put that on here, like, because I love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But that's something I don't know if it will play well, but that's, yeah, Douglas Adams for me. Yeah,
They
that's
need
what
it.
I'm
We need
thinking.
another. We need a
Yeah,
redo on Hitchhiker's
yeah,
Guide
yeah,
for
Dad.
the movie. We do.
So my honorable mentions. Now there is a few. I'm just going to go through the list, and like one of them is going to be a lot in chat that probably love this movie because you play it a lot, and it's Conan the Barbarian.
Good
Now
film.
yeah, I do like it. It's just my genre of, like, kind of what I think. So yeah, I had Barbarian. Now this one is a Johnny Depp one, Edward Scissorhands. That
You know
got
how
bumped
I always
down.
say I rewatch some films and they end up in the garbage can? I
That was
am.
one of them, was it? Oh, I still like it. I still find it nice and quirky.
Do you?
Yeah,
Because on
yeah.
rewatch, I am sad to say it went into my little garbage can. On a recent rewatch. I used to like it, but for some reason
That was
I
on Sandy's, Ben. That was on Sandy's.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben, Princess Bride. Yay, that's on my list.
So I had that, of course, Highlander, Jason and the Argonauts,
Mm.
Cruel. Um,
Crawl, yes.
so that was like, oh, that just missed out because it's not great. Pan Labyrinth, French again.
I've never seen it, and
Haven't you? Oh, it's
no,
good.
but
It's
I've
good. But
always heard great things about it.
yeah, it's a great one. So I would, yeah, definitely recommend that. Rain of Fire.
Ooh, I
Have you
remember
heard
that.
of that?
Dragons,
Yeah,
right?
yes, yes.
I do remember that film.
Christopher Bale
Yes.
and Matthew McConaughey, isn't it? Very great. I love that movie. Like, very, like, a weird movie, and I
Yeah.
don't think they did it, but very good. I thought it was a good concept. Isn't 100% amazing, but I thought, bloody, that's a good one. What else is there? Yeah, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, The Crow. I thought that was obvious, so I'd left it out, but I do love The Crow. Just, yeah, it was things. Of course, all the Lord of the Rings.
All the Lord of the Rings.
Now this one, Does I don't know where I'm guessing it is fantasy just because of what's in it. Is the Green Mile?
So I saw that on a list. You know, I had to go
Hmm.
Google, like, what do people think fantasy is? And I saw that on a list, and I thought long and hard about it because I love the book series and I love the film. But I think I would lean more toward drama. I don't know.
Yeah,
The
I don't know.
supernatural part is a small
Yeah,
part
that's
of it,
what
but
pushed.
yeah,
Yeah, it just pulls it into the fantasy world, doesn't it? And it
it's a
has Mr.
great film.
Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles, people.
Oh,
I
Michael
love it.
Clark Duncan, God bless.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's okay, boss. It's
It's
okay.
okay, boss.
Oh, it's like every time makes me. We're trying to get
Oh,
our niece to watch that because we know she would just bawl her eyes out,
yep.
and she's not watched it, and she's 22. We're like, you need to watch
You
that to have a good
everyone will.
time. And that is like the Mummy. That was my other one. That I just
Which
like it.
version? Which version?
The
Oh, the good one, the original one?
no, the actual was it Brendan Fraser one?
Brendan Fraser one? You like
Yeah,
that one?
yeah. Yes, I
It
love that
wasn't
one.
bad. It wasn't bad.
I
It's just
no,
not on my list.
the reason I do this, and it's something that always stuck in my head, is with my stepdad. Is like he was right. Is they did that series wrong because at the time, Indiana Jones was
Mhm.
dead. There was no
That's why.
Indiana Jones,
Yep,
and they could have really played off that he was this, the new Indiana Jones. They could
they
have
could
made that
have.
whole series, but then that second one came out and that third one, and it just
Ugh,
killed that franchise. And
it
I was like,
did.
oh, and it had a great concept to make, Brendan Fraser the next big star of like that kind of thing. But they just couldn't write for crap, really, could they?
No.
But yeah, Excalibur was on there, Camelot as
Excalibur.
well. Yeah, Excalibur. It's 19,
Yep.
1970 something, isn't it? Oh, there you go. And look, Ben David, just there you go. There we go. So yeah, because so yeah, Hulk. I think we had Hulk. Yeah, I think Greg said that these come up early, didn't they? Reign of Fire was good, but yeah, what was your honourable
Nice.
mentions then? Go on.
So, we've mentioned a few already. Beastmaster, Jason and the
Mhm.
Argonauts, Legend, the
Legend.
Tom
Well, Tom
Cruise.
Cruise. There
Oh,
you
I
go. The
see it on
posters
your
there. The
it's
post.
on your
Yeah,
poster there. That
yeah.
was
I
another
do.
one on TV a
That's
lot.
one I rewatched recently, and I didn't. And I remember liking it as a kid, and I
Doesn't hold
rewatched
up.
it. Doesn't hold up, and I didn't like
No, I have a few of those too.
And I was like, "Oh, that is not a really good." Like the beginning bit, when it like with the unicorn and they're taking it off, and then the
Yeah,
storm comes. That bit, I was like, "Oh, it's really bad that bit." And I just but the
it
rest
is.
of it, I kind of like. It's good.
It's clunky.
Yeah, it's clunky.
It's
Uh,
clunky. Now again, many of these fall in multiple categories, and I think you had this on your honorable mention
mm.
for animation. I hope you did. How to
Oh, I
Train Your
know it.
Dragon. Love
Oh
that
yeah, I love
film.
that. My kid watched it for the first time yesterday.
Yay!
Yes, and I was
Toofless,
like,
toofless.
yeah, and I was like, oh, I was like, he's not gonna like this. He's gonna be a bit too old for him, and he just sat down, literally did
Lovely.
not move, and was just like,
That's
for
when
like, I
you
was
want
like,
them watching.
brilliant. I was like, top lad. So yeah,
Oh, that's
I was really
good.
proud of him that he actually. That's a movie though. When it first came out, I was like, what's everybody like? It can't be that good. And then it
It's
took
so
like a
good.
couple of years, and I watched it. I was like, that's a bloody good movie.
Just a simple story, a good
Yeah, it
wholesome
is.
story.
Mhm.
I have let's see what else. Oh, okay. Because I can't fit it in any other category in addition to animation.
Ooh.
I like Space Jam. Now,
Space Jam, what the
for
Michael
Michael
Jordan?
Jordan, Bugs Bunny, it fits in. It's a sports
Oh,
film.
would it be
It's a
sports or family? I would put that in the
it's a
family
sports, it's a
movie.
family, but it's a fantasy.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
it's a human playing basketball with animated creatures for the fate of the universe.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
then
come on.
would you put Who Framed Roger Rabbit then? Where would you put that? Because that's kind of similar kind of thing. I would put that in family.
It might be a family. Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be when you've got
Yeah.
animation and humans living together, that's definitely not real world in my world. I don't know,
No, no,
it's fantasy.
no.
And then the last one I have, Laugh at Me If You Must, is
Oh.
Brigadoon, another musical. Brigadoon,
Oh, okay,
the
yes, Brigadier.
Scottish
Okay,
village that only appears and everyone sings like mad. That just has a I know it's quirky, but
yeah.
there's a place in my heart. In addition to Edward Scissorhands, though, the one I put in the trash can, and you haven't mentioned it either, so hopefully, we'll have to see how you feel about this. But the one I decided on rewatch is just terrible. Is Labyrinth? David
What
Bowie.
David Bowie?
Ah,
What is said is
so
said. No,
bad.
I
He's
wouldn't put that.
wonderful, but the film is horrible.
I would put that as family. I would definitely put that
You
as a
put that as a
family.
family film.
I would put that as a family film because it's got the just bit of puppeteer in, and yeah,
The
I would say
Trolls,
because
yeah,
I could see I would think that as a kid, it's
Goblins.
like a never-ending story.
Mhm.
Loved it as a kid. Rewatch it now, it's awful. It does not
It's
hold up.
awful.
Yeah, but as a kid, these are ones like Labyrinth. We had to do the family one, Labyrinth, and all that. I think that you have to like. If I was 10, am I gonna love that? So that's I
Yeah.
don't mind Labyrinth. I can see why people get obsessed with
Ugh.
Labyrinth. It has a big following, but for me, it's not for me. So, but
No, definitely not for me.
but yeah, Flash Gordon. I would put Flash Gordon 100% in sci-fi.
That goes
Uh,
sci-fi. Yeah,
but which
space.
version? Which version? There's some older ones, isn't there? I'm guessing not the black
I
and white
do
ones.
like the new one. You gotta have
Yeah.
your daily dose of Brian Blessed shouting.
Was it Fly? I can't do
Gordon!
that.
I can't do it. I can't do it justice. I don't want to
Is it
embarrass
Tim
myself.
Curry as the big horn guy?
Yeah, in Legend, Tim Curry is the beast.
Yes. Of course
Darkness.
he
I
is.
think he's
Yeah.
actually called Darkness, right? He's the
Yeah.
devil, whatever, but
Hmm.
he's Darkness. Yep.
I forgot that. Yeah. And what we got? Rocky Horror Picture. Ooh, Rocky Horror. Where would you place that? I'm going to place that in musical. I'm going to have to.
Musical.
Yeah, it's so heavy. It is a good one. But yeah, I would place that heavy in musical. Yeah, that is a family movie. That is bread and Thompson Bruce.
Please do.
That is literally one of my girlfriend's all-time favorite movies.
Is it?
Yeah,
I know
I
people
must
who can
say,
just watch it over and over and over again. I've watched it a few
I
times, and that's
do
enough.
not get it. I do not
I
get it.
don't
I'm
get it
like,
either.
I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. I would literally put it middle of the road, like kind of
Mhm.
movie, but she obsessed with it. She was like, "Oh my god, it's absolutely brilliant." I'm like, that is like you remember something I don't remember. So it's I don't.
It's good it's good a few
It's a
times, and after
good,
that, it's like, "Okay,
yeah.
been there, sang all the songs."
Was it Linsdale? What's her name?
Susan Sarandon.
No, in Broomstick and Bedslop.
Oh, sorry. I'm back to the Rocky Horror. So I
Elizabeth
thought
is it Elizabeth
about
Linsdale? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Chat,
I
you have to
thought
let me
about
know.
that one, and I thought about Chronicles of Narnia, but you know what? They just don't
Gotta go
mean
to
enough
sleep.
to me. Yeah,
Have a
they
good
just
sleep.
"Hey, good luck, Clissu. If
Hey,
Clissu will
hey.
become an aunt or an uncle, good luck. Let us know."
Ah. What, you're going to change into being an aunt and an uncle? Weird.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah, mine too. Oh, what Bramsticks? Okay. There's a Yes, I had the Statue of Darkness.
Ooh, that'd be a
What's the
good
statue?
one.
But
That was a
think
good
about
that was really good effects and
yeah.
makeup. That was a good monster that I remembered a lot as a kid,
What? Yeah.
in Nightmares, in Legend, the Darkness.
There are some good ones. There are like I say, like the best thing with fantasy, and that's why I think we went off space ish.
Yeah.
I think the thing is because there is let's say like loads of family ones are pulled in there, but you can pull in so many different genres into fantasy. I
You
say it's
can.
just it's what you kind of minds there. Like as you said, like I could go at like imagine doing top 10 or like recommendations of TV fantasies, and we might have to do that because you've got some good ones, and then
Oh,
you've
I
got
can
that.
think
But
of
then you've got loads that will go into that fantasy section that are heavy sci-fi as well. So it's like that. So it's like that. So it's what you like, isn't it? Really, at the
it
end of
is
the day.
what
So
you like, and this
that's
is
why I
what
say,
you like. This is
yeah,
awesome.
and we got some random ones. I say I've got we got everybody have to get some heavy recommendations. Yeah, I don't know what else is on. So I'm just gonna what we got on our things. I don't know what is I think Rain of Fire is there, Camelot, Mod Squad, Mask. You could have had that, the Mask. That is funny, fantasy. The Death
Yes.
Becomes Her is like that. What did I sort of pick? Jabberwocky. Yeah, some other ones. So yeah, you could have had a Shape of Water. People like it.
What's the one you have Antonio Banderas? I can't read. Oh, the 13th Warrior. I
The
don't know what
13th.
that is.
You've never seen the first. Oh,
No, I have to put that on the list too.
Oh, Chris is gone. I'm sure it's set in. I'm sure it's set in Denmark, and he plays an Arab, I believe, and there is some kind of monsters that are taking over the villages and all the different tribes in. I'm sure it is in Scandinavia somewhere,
Oh,
and he
fun.
goes there with his horses, and then like he's an epic warrior, and he goes and takes them all out, and it's quite good. It's not great, and like, but yeah, it's I think it is based in the 17th century again, to be honest. But yeah, it's a weird
You
like
were
set of
gravitating
people.
toward, yeah, those are
Yeah, but yeah, so
your
it's
eras.
yeah, yeah, it's a good one. I would recommend it. That is a yeah, it's a very very there you go. Viper knows it. Viper knows it. There you go. Love it. So yeah, it's a good one. 13 for yeah.
Oh, Ben knows it
Great movie.
too.
Yeah, there
Okay.
you go. Haven't believe it. It's recommended. Yeah, it's nothing to like go sing home about. It is a good middle of the road, good fantasy one. A good fight, good fight scenes. Antonio Banderas does it quite well in that. It's a bit different from what he normally does. So yeah, it's just a bit odd the casting of what they got. It's like that. So they got
Mhm.
like a Mexican playing an Arab. It's just
What it
okay.
is, it happens.
Yeah, it's like
Mhm.
that. So they might have a disclaimer on it now if it ever came on TV, not suitable for a
Oh,
modern
that's
audience
true.
and something like that. So, but yeah, it's good. But
Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah. So yeah, any more? You like? I don't know what we got. Let's see if I can get over to that side. Sorry, no.
Hey,
I'll see what's on the other side.
we haven't talked about Willow. It's not on any of my lists, but I didn't like it. I didn't.
Mm,
I know it was a big thing,
I don't
right?
know what you would put. Yeah, Willow is good for Val Kilmer.
It's good for Val
Val Kilmer's
Kilmer.
character is really good in it as I forgot his the character's name doing it. Chat, what's Val Kilmer in? What's his name?
Nah,
Like
can't even
McConaughey or
remember.
something. I can't remember. But that's a it's a playful one. It's not good. It was always weird when they did the Disney Plus series. I always thought that's a bit of a weird one, but that was the only thing again on Lucas films. I
Yeah,
suppose that catalog that kind of did okay. It was, I think, it was a flop at
it
cinema. It
was
didn't
a
do that
flop.
well. Yeah, so it's okay. It can be on TV. You can watch it, but it's
Hmm.
yeah. Again, it's got to be a 6 out of 10, a 5, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd say a
It's
5. I'd go with a
yeah,
5 on that
yeah.
one.
It's not a strong thing. Yeah, don't know. Is it? Yeah, I'm guessing you would class it as fantasy, wouldn't you? So
I
that
think
was even
so. Yeah.
wasn't even an honourable mentions. There we go. So
Nope.
taken off,
No.
but yeah, that is that is good. But yeah, chat. Any others before we
What
sign
did we
off?
miss?
Mad Madonna Good. There we go. I'm trying to think what we could have done, but a lot of them I do have. I say there is a lot that moved over like into, I suppose, horror, even to that, or
Yeah, some of
mystery,
mine are borderline
sci-fi.
horror, borderline
Yeah. Mm,
animation, martial arts. We would have put,
yeah.
they do, and sports. Space Jam is a sports film, but I could put it in every category. I don't know why I love
I
that
don't
film.
like that movie. I really don't.
I love that
Have
movie.
you seen the remake? I
It's
don't like
I'm
it.
not even gonna see no, I'm not going
No.
near there because the first film was perfect. It was a perfect film. And, I think because I grew up, um, I went to an ACC school, an Atlantic
Mm,
Coast Conference University, which, during a time when well, college basketball is huge, but during the real golden age of college basketball, and Michael Jordan played at a school in our conference, but he was gone by the time, I'm much younger, so
mm,
but that whole era of amazing I never missed a game the entire time I was in university. I went to every single game and had a blast, and there was such an energy around that. So when this film came out, it just, it's the basketball, and I love Warner Brothers cartoons. My favorite cartoons of all time, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and so you put those two together. I was in heaven. Love the movie and love the music from the movie too.
mm.
Good music. So
Yeah.
if I can
See,
sell
he's come.
anyone on Space Jam, give it a try.
Yeah, yeah. He's got that Dark Crystal. I watched this
Mm,
recently, and it doesn't hold up. I didn't think this held up.
mm.
I liked it when I was younger, but I must say, even Greg recommends it. I the series, I think Netflix one, I didn't mind it. I thought it was quite good.
Was it
Like
better? Okay.
I thought it was actually a much better, well, much better than I would thought it would be off the back of that movie. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, but yeah, yeah,
I didn't
again,
like it.
yeah, I don't, yeah, sorry, it's not one. that I would watch again. I didn't mind, say the series, but Dark Crystal. I don't think it's not held up well. Let's say that.
No,
But
definitely not.
no.
What are you
But
looking at
cool.
next? What's your next adventure
My
in
next
film?
one is actually is family. There we go.
There you
So we
go. Well,
got
I look forward to
family.
seeing your family choices.
Yeah, and so that's it. So we're have to do that, but everybody will have to let know out of that list what watch party we're gonna do. So that'd be interesting.
That's
Yeah,
gonna
so I've
be
got that,
hard.
and
We have too many
yeah,
on the list. We need
uh,
several watch parties.
I know there's got too many, but like then I got horror after that. I'm skipping history for now because I'm gonna get to when we get to war. And then whatever we haven't picked is going to go dumped into my history bit.
That's a good plan. So we're going to
Yeah,
separate out war first. We're going to go way out of
yeah,
alphabetical order, and then history will be after. I like that
yeah,
plan. That's a good
yeah.
plan.
It's because I got so many. I'm like, but I want it in war, but it is history, and it's there's so many that you could actually have on there. So it's things. Watch marathon incoming. There we go. Should like find out. I can just do a 24-hour watch party and just have the movies playing after
So
each
you
other.
have
That'd be good.
family, and then you have to do horror.
Well,
So
hurrah!
H, and then you have to do mystery. Is mystery separate
No,
from horror, right?
no. Then we've got martial arts, music,
Good.
mystery,
Ooh.
romance, and then sci-fi. So yeah,
Oh,
so
I so enjoy your recommendations, and I'm so happy when you invite me to participate with you. I think this is so much
you have to
fun.
say we have to go that. You got some good martial arts ones, so that might have to be one. That's it. So we've got some good ones on that. And you like the honorable mention just before it is Van Damme's dance in Bloodsport. With the dance in the bar. If anybody, you remember that?
No, I didn't see
Van
Bloodsport.
Damme.
See, I haven't seen a lot of martial arts, just a handful, because it was never really my thing. So I've only seen a few. So I look forward to hearing your recommendations to add to my long list of films
I
I
don't
need to
know.
see.
Yeah, Jay's girlfriend's brother is a Sifu in I can't remember what it is, but Taekwon, one of the ones anyway. So he's heavy into his martial arts movies. So like he would go, oh, you should watch this, and I'm like, I've never heard of it, and then I'll put it on. Like that's actually a good recommendation. Like this old school 60s, 70s, like Chinese, Japanese movie, like or Korean movie that you've never heard of. You're like, yeah, that's weird. So yeah, I've got some good ones on there.
Well, I just appreciate the practical stunt work versus the CGI that you see today that is so terrible. And I think
the only one I've seen recently that's really good that's holds up is On Bank. It's Thai, I believe. And it's like that. So yeah, if you watch it, the guy who does it, and I can't remember his name, he can fight. He can fight, and I think he's done some Hollywood stuff. But his English accent is he needs to kind of he's not very well spoken, let's say. So he hasn't crossed over to Hollywood, but he would be a great action star. I can't remember his name, but yeah, Daniel, I think something, but I can't remember. But yeah, but we'll get to that.
What's Reanimator? I'm seeing that in the chat.
Reanimator, I believe that's a horror one. That
Sounds
is zombies. It's I think it's you had one of the deads, isn't it? So you had like Living Dead, and that's it. And it's one of the what they couldn't get the rights to call it the Dead, and they called it Reanimated. I'm sure it's that one. So
got it.
Yeah, so
got it. Oh, there's so many films in so little time. That's why we have to watch together.
They got On Bank is insane. On Bank. Tony, there you go. There you go. Tony Jab is amazing. That's it. So okay, everybody knows it better than me. So yeah, I was gonna say your spelling, Greg, but it's okay. What's it? Dragon. Oh, Dagon. No. Oh, I've never heard of it.
Oh, okay.
Dagon. Never heard of it, Ben. I have to see that. HP Lovecraft. Recommendations coming up now. Heather West Reanimate adaptation. Okay. I'll have to check it out. But yeah, it's all cool. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed our little fun with fantasy. I say, yeah, I think it's everybody's niche, isn't it? So it's good. So, but yeah, it's been fun, Sandy. Any last thoughts?
Thank you as always for inviting me. Uh,
Mm.
I think this is where most of us can say we got into our geekdom was either through
Yeah,
sci-fi or through fantasy, and probably through both. So it's been great to look back on some of the films that I really appreciated as a kid and made an impression on me, and that I still like now. It was great to give a rewatch to a few and see which ones held up and which ones didn't. And you've given me a list and you've given me some homework to do. So I'm looking forward to that too. Thank you
no.
so much, Stasis Geek.
And yeah, and thank you, chat. Thank you. Best dream, great.
Thanks,
Didn't
Chad.
ditch me for FNT. That's
Yeah.
cool. Being good. Thank you. But yeah, until next one. Yeah, and then we and Sandy offline we'll think of which ones we're gonna get back on, and definitely. But yeah, I just want to get to W. Like really bad. I think that's gonna be the longest one for the war. I can see us having some epic talk about
I
that. So
I think we
I just
will. Yeah.
I know, I'm just going to skip and it's like that. And when we get there, chat, you have to guess how many before we start American Civil War
Mm.
movies we've got.
We might have to make a rule about we may have to have a separate like war may have to be a multi-part stream. We may have to divide it by eras or
You could
something.
do
Yeah.
that. Oh God, what century
Ah,
or decade?
well, we know which centuries you like, and we know which centuries I like, and
I know. Well, yeah, but we cross over, so that's good. There's going to be a lot
yeah.
that I'll be like, that was on my list. That was on my list. That was on my list. But yeah, it's good. Yeah. Anyway, yes, all good. All right, guys. Yeah, until the next time. Yeah, it's been fun. This one, yeah, I got excited about. It's fantasy, isn't it? You got to love a bit of fantasy. But yeah, have a great one, guys. And I'm guessing everybody's going to head over to the other channel. I don't know who that it could be on their channel. But yeah, have a great one, everyone. Have a great rest of the evening. And until next time, Stasis Geek and Sandy Q
Bye.
out.